And for more on this, we are joined by Lieutenant General Naeem Khalid Lodhi, retired. Thank you for your time at Indus News. How significant is this visit when the warring sides in Afghanistan are on the brink of holding long-awaited peace talks?
Thank you very much. I think it's very important, and the importance can also be gauged by that Mullah brother was who's the chief negotiator from the Afghan Taliban side. He was heading the delegation, and from our side, Foreign Minister of course was there, and he was assisted by Sadiq Saab, Ambassador Sadiq, who is a special envoy to Afghanistan, and also by DGISI. So it means it was very important, and also look at the numbers of the members of the both sides. So one can gauge that it was very important. And I think the top of the line things were discussed. First of all, of course, the progress that is going on between on the agreement, the US-Afghan agreement. Secondly, the importance of intra-Afghan dialogue, and that it must start, immediately, and what are the impediments. Then also they talked about the Afghan refugees problems and their economic woes, and how I think Foreign Minister reiterated that our relationship with Afghanistan is historical. We have ethnic proximity, we have religious relations, and so many things. And I think the world must have realized now that how important it is to keep the communication open. We were being blamed that we have some connection with Taliban, and we always used to say that that is just that we keep on talking to them, so that a time may come that we would be requiring them to talk to us, and that time has arrived. Pakistan has not only been very helpful in bringing the Taliban on the table to talk to the Americans. Pakistan is, I think, carrying out extraordinary efforts to ensure that intra-Afghan dialogue takes place. Pakistan also, I think, cautioned the Afghan Taliban that they must be aware of the factors, so we don't want these talks to actually succeed. And I'm sure they must have mentioned India and some other elements.
So General Lodhi, you just mentioned that Pakistan also told the Taliban delegation that there could be certain possible threats to this Afghan peace process. So what sort of a threat, or from which sides this particular threat could be posed in future or had been in the past?
I'm sure your viewers remember very vividly that just 3-4 days ago, we came to know that there was a renewal of some agreement between Tehreek-e-Taliban, Pakistan, and some other, renegade, groups which really want to hurt Pakistan. And we know that it is a combination of RAW and NDS, which is sponsoring them, and NDS, unfortunately, is part of one government. So I think it should be very clear that leading this group, those who don't want these talks to succeed, is Indian establishment, Indian intelligence agencies, and abetted by some of the elements within Afghanistan, like gun runners, like narcotic barons, and maybe some elements within the NDS and government. So we have to be careful about that. Afghan Taliban have to be careful about that. But Pakistan also suggested to the Taliban that they must take advantage of this historic opportunity which has arrived because of this US and Afghan Taliban agreement. I am sure, all said and done, this would have been a very useful meeting, and very soon you will see that the outcome of this meeting will become very obvious in the next 1 or 2 weeks.
Okay, General Lodhi, when we talk about Pakistan, of course, everybody knows, as you also mentioned, that the West now recognizes that communication is very necessary, and Pakistan has got a very important role to play in this particular whole process. But when we come to talk about the Afghan government and the Taliban have released all the prisoners of the Afghan side, but there is still something like sticking to those 400 prisoners, and we have seen Australia and France making an objection to the release of those prisoners who were involved in killing either the French people or the Australian people. So don't you think this is a sort of a hurdle that can actually delay the intra-Afghan negotiations further?
This is important, because the actual thing is that the basic agreement between US and Afghan Taliban is the mega agreement. There can be other agreements also between US and the Afghan government, and maybe Afghan government and some other parties. But the overarching and the major agreement is the one that I mentioned. So the things must move according to that agreement. And America should ensure that that agreement is executed properly in that spirit. Pakistan is trying its best, and Afghan Taliban, I think they have really adhered to all the adjuncts of that agreement. They haven't violated anything as far as US and Afghan Taliban agreement is concerned. And the Afghan government should realize that they are walking on a very thin ice, because the moment the Americans leave, they will be left up to their own machinations, because they will either be relying on the American aid or the forces which they command. And may I just warn, or I can see that many from these forces may defect and may join the Taliban ranks. So the government of Afghanistan must realize that what they are up to, and what are their progress, and what they should be doing and what they should not be doing. I think Pakistan has to play a very important role, along with China and maybe Iran. And Pakistan, Iran, China, Russia, they are such a strong group that they are pro peace in Afghanistan, and I think ultimately this group will prevail.
Okay, thank you very much for your insight regarding whatever is happening in Afghanistan, as the Taliban delegation is in Pakistan having the meeting with Pakistan's Foreign Minister Shah Mehmood Qureshi in Islamabad at the moment. Lieutenant General Naeem Khalid Lodi, analyst, thank you for your time. We really appreciate that. It's time for a short break. We'll be back with more stories. Stay tuned.